Hey everyone, it's been a while I have been making videos. I couldn't make a lot of videos in between, I was jumbling between cities. Today I'm going to talk about a very famous conversation that you typically have with very early stage founders is uh, how do I price my product really well? How do I price my service really well? And there are extremes, right? Few of the founders are like, am I leaving money on the table? And few of the founders are, am I too pricey for the service that or the product that I'm offering? Here's a basic framework that I keep on looking at. There are two ideas. First is what is the perceived value of your product or service. Second is what is the perceived price your customer is willing to pay. Now, how do I define that? Let's take an example. What would be perceived value for an Ola cab? Perceived value would be I don't have to own a car, I don't have to make that investment, I don't have to take care of the maintenance. I can just book it on the app, pay 100, 200, 300 rupees for a ride, and just get done about my office to home commute, right? That would be my perceived value. So the broad math I would say is I'm paying 200, 300 a ride because I don't want to own that all hustle, and that's I'm saving money on that investment. I could put that money into stock markets and earn more, right? That could be a perceived value for somebody who's living in Bangalore for an Ola cab. I'm not sure everybody thinks like that. Some of the people would also think, I just don't want to get into the rush of maintaining the car and maybe parking the car, and that's why I use Ola cab. So that could be their perceived value. Then let's start looking at another company. Let's look at what would be the perceived value for, say, Grammarly, which is a grammar helper on Chrome, right? Now, perceived value would be could be infinity, because if you're writing a application for a job and you make spelling mistakes inside that email that you're writing, it could cost you your whole fortune, right? But at the same time, a perceived value for Grammarly for a college student would be getting lesser grades on the next thesis or whatever that is, right? Let's start looking at another. So we looked at first, which is saving money, which was the Ola example. We also talked about improving efficiency as a perceived value, which was Grammarly. Let's talk about what would be, maybe saving time would be. Now, saving time, you would typically look at how do you get more shit done by paying a price in the same time. Now, that could be a lot of SaaS startups, right? Now, if you are into the business of making sure that you have the right team collaboration, so for example, you're Slack, right? Now, how would Slack define their pricing? They would look at a lot more factors, but one of the key factor would be what is the perceived value of that productivity time. Imagine 8 people getting on a meeting to discuss a particular thread. That would cost the company a lot more than what the Slack pricing is, right? So that in the sense that particular business owner is taking that call that I want to improve my productivity, so they are buying time of their employees by paying a price. And the last type of perceived value is slightly vague, which is the dopamine, I say, right? Now, dopamine could be using Tinder, right? You pay a price to get a Tinder Gold or a Tinder Plus subscription, and in return, you become a couch potato and you keep on swiping and swiping and swiping from the comfort of your house and get a date online, right? You don't have to actually get out of the house and go there. Now, Tinder is not really a time saver, right? Because it takes similar amount of time to get dates these days, right? But it's just dopamine secretion, right? So you have that perceived value that, hey, I have all these profiles online and I could get and date somebody there, right? So that's a dopamine. So these are the four kinds of perceived value and typical perceived price people pay. You could come up with a lot more, but I hope this framework helps you define what's your perceived value for your ideal customer and what is the price that you're asking them to pay. Do let me know in the comments on what kind of products do you have and what kind of perceived value and price you have and why. Would be fun conversation. See you next time. Bye bye.